This video has been sponsored by NordVPN. Go to nordvpn.com/Eruption to protect your privacy online today. It's pretty rare that a product stands the test of time. We've seen so many video game franchises pop up, have an absolutely bonkers fandom for a few months, and then promptly die out. Rest in peace, Cube World. And all of these. Once thought of as a fad, I think it's pretty clear that 23 years later, Pokemon is here to stay. It's been a minute since I've dived deep into one, but with the latest monster-catching collections, Sword and Shield on the horizon, I'm getting pretty excited. But that's not what we're talking about today. Welcome to part 2 of the Pokemon clones, the sequel to my 2015 video. Jeez. I hear a lot of y'all are mad about the lack of a national Pokedex in the new games. In that case, let's talk about some Pokemon clones, alternatives, and in some cases, straight up ripoffs. But what is a Pokemon clone? Now, I could just call this whole video Shin Megami Tensei clones if we're being real, but I'm trying to talk about games that don't necessarily deal with the complete destruction of humanity. Just like cute monsters, yeah! Don't be sad. My general focus here is gonna be games that deal with collecting, leveling up creatures, or ones that have the look and feel of Pokemon. You know the ones. No Moemon though. So yo, it's Austin, and once again, we're gonna be diving into the world of Pokemon clones. Now, I'm gonna miss some, there are a ton of them. However, since Sword and Shield are on the horizon, I was thinking, hey, maybe I'll make a couple of these videos. Maybe you let me know right down there. Sometimes a clone might pop out of a franchise that doesn't really make sense at first, but then you're like, oh, okay, sure. Not like Digimon, but something a little weirder. Who here remembers Shaman King? Oh God, Shaman King. I remember not much about this one. Back in the day, I was subscribed to the English print of Shonen Jump when it was like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Sandland, Yu Yu Hakusho, One Piece, and Shaman King. All I really remember about this show is that this guy's name was Yo, and this girl is Anna, and she was cute, despite the fact that she's basically wearing a tablecloth on her head. I don't know, I was like 13. Anyways, all of these anime kids are shaman, an underrated Warcraft class, and someone who can tap into the world of the dead. Except since this was a shonen anime, that means everyone gets a fighting partner. In the case of Yo, Amida Maru. He's a dead samurai man spirit thing. In fact, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to call Shaman King a proto-yokai watch, which by the way, I'm not talking about this time. Next time, I promise. Shaman King was pretty damn popular in Japan and also did pretty well in the States, getting an old school proper 4Kids dub. Hell yeah. Now, with any vaguely popular anime, we've got video games. The concept of the show alone lends itself pretty heavily to gaming. We got like fighting games, Metroidvanias, a strategy RPG on the PS2, but most importantly, a Pokemon clone. That, as far as I can tell, did not release in Japan. I mean, it says Konami Japan here, so okay, whatever. This is Shaman King, Legacy of the Spirits, Soaring Hawk Edition. That's a mouthful. There's also Sprinting Wolf, but I was never much of a wolf kid growing up. I'm more of a majestic bird. You know, you tuck the bald eagle shirts directly into the jorts. It's liberating. What can I say? It's Pokemon, but with dead people. Yeah, not like dead creatures or cute monsters like in Yokai Watch, but like this. I mean, it makes sense when you have Yo summoning like Amida Maru or some other ancient looking warriors from times past. But why is there a 7-Eleven clerk on my team? Why is this random Doge attacking me? Why is the burger lady so scary? Like, she's not looking towards the enemy, but directly at the player, as if she's wanting to possess you. Also, her attack is lick. I don't like it. Shaman King has a lot of dialogue, too much. Also a stupid amount of encounters. At least you can finish them quickly. Actually, somehow the battles in Legacy of Spirits feel less animated than Pokemon Red and Blue, which is saying something. Your spirit just kind of sits there dead face and jiggles a little bit when you get hit. Kinda like nothing excites them anymore. I feel like the game feels that way too. If you happen to die in combat, it doesn't like reboot or take you to the main menu like any other video game. It's like, game over. Please turn off the power. Take a shower. Wash your butt. Damn, dude. I will say I appreciate the amount of effort they spent on cross-licensing for this, though. Ah, yes, my favorite dead person, Hank Hill. The concept of Shaman King translates really well into a Pokemon-like RPG, but they sure dropped the ball on this one. It's like aggressively mediocre or painfully average. There's too many random encounters, combat is uneventful, it's boring to look at, and imbalanced. But worst of all, look at this cat. Are you okay? Oh, a shiny. Next up, we have a video game I always looked at from afar with a sense of wonderment. I saw this man with giant red hair and I was like, wow, I wish I could be you. Now there's a ton of monster collecting games on the PlayStation 1, but today we're gonna be talking about Azure Dreams. Back in the day, Konami used to take all kinds of weird risks. Yeah, believe it or not, they used to do things besides ports, remakes, Pro Evolution Soccer, and Bomber Girl. Late 90s Konami, specifically on the PlayStation 1, was ridiculous. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was starting to take off, so there were a lot of games for that. Castlevania, Symphony of the Night set a new standard not just for Castlevania, but practically helped to create a new genre of platformer. Hideo Kojima was breaking new ground with Snatcher and Metal Gear Solid. Suikoden 1 led into Suikoden 2, which was one of my favorite games of all time, and was pretty good. Somewhere in the middle of all of that, Konami tossed a new IP out into the wild known as Azure Dreams. You ever played one of those mystery dungeon games? Long before we had a term for it, Chunsoft's Mystery Dungeon series of games were kind of a proto-roguelike, the term and genre of games thrown around just about everything these days. Do you lose any progress when you die? Roguelike! Mario Brothers is a roguelike! You don't even carry over power-ups when you die. Mystery dungeon games haven't really been fully embraced by a Western audience, as they're pretty anti-casual. My first exposure to these games was Chocobo Dungeon 2 on the PlayStation 1. I thought it was really cool until I died and lost literally everything. All of my items gone. These games are mean, but oh, are they fun. I just had to age like 15 years in order to fully appreciate them. Let's hop into Azure Dreams. You play as Ko, the son of the famous monster hunter, Guy. Ko, yo, screw it, we're Austin. Though I did have to look at this horrifying 2D trying to look 3D baby sprite in order to do it. Make sure you're positive, make every effort, and live life happily and joyfully to the fullest. Gross. So, our dad dies right away. Actually, he dies before we even start the game because the opening cutscene's like, sadly, he died early. So we get to have the emotional whiplash of it happening twice in like 3 minutes. Obviously, this here's the Pokemon clones video, so where them monsters at? Well, once you hit the bustling age of 15, you decide to go into the tower where your father passed away and take over for him. For some reason, all of my dialogue choices are hella sassy, like, all the time. Makes sense though, because the localization here has everyone being mean to you all the time, constantly. You get woken up in the morning by this Nico girl who literally Captain Falcons you. I'm surprised you can get up after that. Falcon! But. Yes! So you head to the tower and immediately run into this cute little thing called Kyun. They're like, hey, you're gonna be my monster tamer now. And you're like, okay. Is there a reason he comes to you immediately? Is it your dead dad's monster? I don't know. The tower plays exactly like one of those hard-ass mystery dungeon games, except you get to find and tame monsters. Now, anytime you enter the tower, Ko starts out at level 1 and only has items that you brought in with you. If you leave, your level resets. However, any experience gained by your monsters is kept. They're gonna be your main method of progressing, as well as any weapons and armor you bring out of the tower. However, if you die without teleporting out, you lose all of those items. So don't do that. So how about those monsters, huh? You get to meet a lot of cool monsters like Balloon, Troll, Palumpa. They're eggs you find in the tower and you hug them. You give them a big ol' hug. But outside, that takes a while. Mini hugs. At first, you only have one collar, so you can only have one monster on the field at a time, but eventually you get multiple, so you can have a bunch at once. They can attack on their own with tweakable AI, or you can manually toggle their attacks. Or you can just rely on them to do everything for you, like a true Pokemon master. However, Azure Dreams isn't just a dungeon crawler, it's actually a dating sim.
You're ugly, short, look poor, and your father's dead! That is what is so great about you.
Bitch, what? Welcome to the metagame of Azure Dreams. When you aren't collecting monsters to dungeon with, you're collecting girlfriends to fill out a diamond on your save file, as well as sweep up your floors, give you goodbye kisses, items, and have more people to assault you when you wake up. They're so mean. This game is strange. Flirting is just genuinely baffling to me. in reality and also in the game, but a majority of the girls you run into just talk constant trash to you, insult your social standing, and just anything. Is this what it's like in real life? You end up having to compete for their affection with Gosh or Gosh, the town wannabe womanizer. He's rich and makes fun of you for any reason, mostly money. And that's why you have to date his sister, the original Selfie. I hear you wet your pants in the tower.
Austin's such a mystery.
Not in the mood for the aggressive type. Try Cheryl, the bedridden sick anime girl.
Wasn't me.
Yo, 1997 was whack. Also, I've been trying not to say anything about their eyes, but I mean, the eyes though. They're coming off their face, yo! I will say, it's pretty cool to watch your town progress as you get higher up the tower. Townsfolk end up asking for favors, like building new places to hang or filling out the pool. Base building has always been one of my favorite things in RPGs, so having all of this here in this weird Konami-made Pokemon clone is pretty cool. Azure Dreams is not a cheap one to find these days, but if you ever manage to play it, I'd recommend it. Maybe it's a bit dated and weird in 2019, but it's a fun time. You might like it if you're a Grant, like me. But wait, there's more. This is Azure Dreams. Again, I'm glad to know that these eldritch horrors known as anime eyes are still intact. The original Azure Dreams didn't go gangbusters or anything, so Konami decided to port it to the Game Boy Color and give it another shot on the platform that made Pokemon huge. And well, it's not the worst thing ever. There are some differences between the two though. It's got a lot less. The Game Boy version focuses on just dungeon crawling, but that means there's no buildings to be built and there's no girls to beat you up. It's pretty decent for a portable game of the time, but unfortunately, it also failed to connect with an audience in Japan and in the States. I just think that maybe the mystery dungeon format of video game isn't that popular. It can't sustain a ton of franchises. There's also a spin-off sequel that came out on the DS called Tao's Adventure, which has great reviews, but maybe I'll check that out another time. 'Cause right now, I gotta piss my pants. Makes me mysterious. Similarly to peeing in your pants, let's talk about mobile games. The iPhone and Android mobile stores are the wild, wild west for bootleggery. Name a popular franchise, it's there, unofficially, represented by some horrible, horrible ripoff. Like, hey, you know Hello Neighbor? Well, this is Angry Neighbor. It's different. Pokemon, of course, is not exempt from this. If there's one franchise that isn't safe here, it's Pokemon. Now, a ton of these have made the waves. I'm sure you've seen random mobile ads for these mobile ripoffs that have been like, But today, I want to talk to you about two specific ones. Let's start with Trainer Canyon. Choose your favorite Ferrari. Yo, dope start. Let's install this on BlueStacks, on a Windows virtual PC, over a VPN, in a library. Oh God. This is Trainer Canyon. This is probably someone's stolen fan art. In fact, it is, and I tried to find you, but you erased your Pixiv, but pretty cool Greninja, dude. Good job, everyone. Give him a round of fuck. If you've ever been to a flea market, I'm sure you've seen those bootleg looking figures that have like a buff Mr. Incredible with Spider-Man and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, this is the video game equivalent of that. It says Trainer Canyon. They even made up some BS designs for the store page, but it's not Trainer Canyon, that's a Pokemon. Yo, why are there so many people here? What's wrong with y'all? Go play a game, a real game. Trainer Canyon is basically exactly what it looks like. Low effort, mindless mobile garbage designed to suck money out of the person playing it, but this time with copyright infringement. So much copyright infringement that Trainer Canyon's not even the first name this game had. This is literally just like, it's Pokemon. It looks like Pikachu, it sounds like Pikachu, it smells like Professor Oak. All games like this do or take money from kids until they get DMCA'd. So if you're looking for Trainer Canyon sometime in the future, it might be under a different name. Look out, y'all. I'm still confused as to why there's so many people here. Is this where the National Pokedex is? That has to be it. Check out my epic level 8 Blossom, bruh. Look, we can stew in garbage all day, or we can talk about a decent Pokemon clone. So let's do that. Now there's actually a bunch of these, but I stumbled upon one in particular that caught my eye. This here's Nexomon. When it comes to mobile games, especially ones like this, I'm used to no production value. However, Nexomon looks, sounds, and plays pretty well. We've even got an opening cutscene with voice acting.
With one shattering roar, an eternal war between humans and Nexomon began.
Oh god, Sword and Shield's gonna have voice acting. The beginning's pretty similar to Ruby and Sapphire, where you have to quickly pick a Nexomon from a container and fight not Team Rocket. I'm glad the Nexomon universe found a use for those original Xbox shells. Good on them, recycling's nice. I went with Sprunk because, who else am I gonna go with? Snivy here? Okay, sure. You fight him off and then suddenly the Nexolord, who's totally not a Super Saiyan, pops out of nowhere and, well, Nexomon happens. It knows exactly what it wants to be, and it does it pretty well, especially for a mobile game. A totally legal, original mobile game! You journey from town to town, encounter colorful characters, catch various Nexomon who are all animated very well. Each town is ruled by an overseer who are apparently scumbags. Like, the world of Nexomon is some dystopian society. But it's so cute and colorful, and everything's on fire. Uh-oh. Now you can't spell mobile game without microtransactions. These are like avatars and Nexo traps with higher catch rates, etc., etc. Also running. You pay to run. That's an old meme, right? Once you're like an hour and a half into the game, Nexomon literally stops you at this bridge and is like, hey, you gotta pay the troll toll to get in this Nexo hole. It's only 99 cents, but still, I've paid much more for worse. It's basically exactly how I would imagine a legit Pokemon would be on a mobile device if they didn't do the whole Go thing. It's a bit grindy, and at the end of the day, definitely still a mobile game, but it's a pretty neat Pokemon clone. Maybe one day Nintendo will actually do the thing and do this. Look, if a small group can make a clone with over 309 Nexomon on mobile and have it be this quality, imagine what Nintendo can do. I'll tell you what they can't do. Flexel, get flexed on. All right, I got one last game for you guys, and I'm sorry, it's not Dragon Warrior Monsters 2. No yokai or dragon this time, I'm sorry. Next time. One of my favorite things is stumbling upon a game or an indie that you feel no one else has heard of. So to end our clone spree today, I want to talk about a little gem known as Heartbeat. In all capital letters, like it's screaming at you, Heartbeat! If you take a look at every game in this video so far, you'll notice how they can all fit the Pokemon mold while slipping into different genres and styles. One of them a mystery dungeon, another whatever this was. Heartbeat here has taken elements of Pokemon and turned it into something really weird and unique. It's hard to explain, but the website does a decent job when it's like, quote, explore a magical yet all too familiar world. Winky winky. But this is Heartbeat, and it's a full-ass indie RPG made by Chumbosoft. I'm sure one of the first things you're noticing with this one is that, hey, this looks really similar to Gen 3, and well, it certainly does. Except when you get into dialogue, because you'll have these pretty and large sprites of the characters pop up. You play as Eve Staccato, a novice conjurer. A conjurer is somebody that's made a pact with a Mogwai, also called Mogs in this world. Yeah, no, not that Mog, but that's a good Mog. Eve has partnered with a little kitty named Klein, who is a type of Mogwai called a Cat Sith. I had no idea when I first launched it, but Heartbeat is an RPG Maker game, and that feels wild to me. I've grown up with the notion of RPG Maker games looking and feeling a very specific way, but I guess Heartbeat leaned really heavily into doing something different. I'm just gonna praise this game for a second. The sprites are just beautiful, characters are highly detailed, the monsters are cute, well designed and varied. The cities and environments have this vague, unmistakable Pokemon feel to them. But where does the Pokemon clone aspect come into play? In the world of Heartbeat, all of the Mogwai also possess a human form. Early on, you fight a Cerberus who, once defeated and tamed, becomes a kawaii anime girl. Oh! But not like Moemon. The Mogwai transform in order to fit in with human society because of story reasons. I don't want to spoil it because it's got a pretty good narrative. Your party members aren't catchable so much as they just are in your party at certain moments in the story. So in that aspect, it's not necessarily a monster collectathon. It's almost as if like Pokemon took its concept in a direction more similar to the anime where other Mogwai exist in the world, but you only encounter and have journeys with certain ones. And in that game, they have distinct personalities and character development, and maybe they have to remind you they can smell the difference between food and musk, you inhumane bastard. However, you do have access to a raisable monster, this little guy right here, Boochie. Boochie starts out like this little baby coward monster. However, he accompanies you in combat, but you have to feed it and raise its stats and equip it with DNA strands. These are collectible items you find throughout the game that allow your little Boochie to transform into whatever little monster you've found. Sometimes they're mini versions of the main cast's animal forms, and other times they're just whatever this is. I like it. You don't have control over it in combat, but you need to take care of your Boochie in order for it to assist you properly. There you go. There's the Pokemon thing. It counts. So yeah, maybe I stretched the definition of a Pokemon clone a little bit, but the entire time I was playing this, I felt like someone took the Pokemon concept and just ran with it. Anyone who watched the original Pokemon anime probably remembers how ornery Charizard was. When you play something like Let's Go Eevee, you get your little guys like eternally but Heartbeat took time to do the opposite of that. Listen, I'm just saying that it's nice to have a monster I bonded with to say that I'm a stupid idiot. Because I am. But if we get into the gameplay, we do have a lot of limitations because it is an RPG Maker game, but Chumbosoft sure made the best of what they had. More so than Pokemon, Heartbeat leans into Shin Megami Tensei because this game is real hard. It's not Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne or anything, but I'm surprised at how difficult they decided to make the base difficulty despite the very cutesy look. Thankfully, you can put it on baby casual mode, for those of you who are baby casuals, like me. Now, obviously, it's not perfect. I had a couple of weird glitches and freezes happen in my playthrough. Had a couple of issues with the map abilities as well. Each of the Mogwai has an action they can do on the overworld map, such as cutting grass, crawling into small spaces, or jumping. Chip has a charging ability, cause she's a heifer, and there's a puzzle where you have to charge from button to button, but it's a little jank. There's also the leveling system, which suffers from that RPG Maker gating, since every zone offers different enemies and the jump in XP you get's ridiculous. You'll go from barely anything increasing your meter anymore to BAM! An entire level in one battle. It's a minuscule observation, but still a weird thing. Also, there's a lot of girls in this game. Like, every single main character is a female? I was wondering if it was some kind of statement, so I took to the forums where I found this post by the lead developer who was basically like, yeah, I just really like girls. They're pretty dope. And I mean, yeah, sure, I agree. I think most of us agree. Heartbeat surprised me. It's been out for a while on itch.io, but late in 2018, it popped up on Steam where I hope it started to cultivate some sort of a fandom. I really enjoyed my experience with it. I love that a game is deceptive with its storytelling, seemingly innocent at first, but then revealing a much darker and adult side as it moves on. I really like how it subverts the expectations of not only an RPG Maker game, but also the possibility of a Pokemon clone. Also, the soundtrack is like extremely good. I'm sorry I'm not ending this on a bad game. I just really wanted to talk about a Heartbeat. Bye-bye. In a post-Undertale world, I know that sounds ridiculous. It's kind of hard to get noticed even as an indie now because you have so many games coming out left and right with tons of personality fighting for your attention on top of the whole AAA thing that's already going on. So congratulations, Heartbeat, for catching my attention. You did it. Good job. I like it. That's all for today. I'm going to be talking about the one thing that I said I was going to be talking about next time, but it might be like a month or two, so don't yell at me. I love you. Let me take a second to talk to you about today's sponsor, NordVPN. Remember earlier in the video when I said, let's install this on a Windows virtual PC over a VPN? Yeah, well, that wasn't a joke. Anytime I want to check out a game or website that isn't well known for being secure, I like to use NordVPN to keep my personal details safe. You're gonna want to as well, considering games like Trainer Canyon here wanted to know all of the things. VPNs are great for when you want to feel safe browsing the internet or connect to public Wi-Fis, which are notorious for being able to probe details from your phone. But since NordVPN has a really intuitive phone app, I'll check out all the weird and bootleggy Android games I want. Also, if you're trying to get around some of those pesky region locks for streaming services like Netflix, which you're already paying for, I mean, I didn't tell you this, but NordVPN will let you connect to data centers just about anywhere in the world. You want to watch some weird Japanese Netflix exclusive? Go for it. So head on over to NordVPN.com and use the code AustinEruption to get 75% off a 3-year plan and an extra month for free. That's NordVPN.com and the code AustinEruption to protect your privacy today. Special Patreon shout out to Alfredo Ariano, Chase Scott, Chris Shelton, Christopher Olivia, Donald Dowdy, David Molinar, Irrational, Jay Roos, Jackets, Jacoby Fitzpatrick, Josh Garbage Lord, Legend Gary, Nitron, Ronnie Vile, Shintaro, and Superfly1787. Thank you very much for your generous donations.
Girls are pretty sweet. That's what the creator heartbeat wants you to think.
I agree. Subscribe to The Portly Gamer and me, and we will fight. I don't know why. Just sounds nice.